right. Made it. I think a lot of people realize how close of a connection we have, to our elders and our ancestors that, maybe it was just a picture on the wall of your entire life, but to realize they were enrolled here. That you can go back and look at information, how tall they were, how much they weighed at the beginning of the school year.
The Seminole history is a long, colorful history. After the Seminoles were removed from Florida to Indian Territory, they were tasked with building a new government. The government included education.
The early development of schools within indigenous nations has a long history, and they were actually propelled with funds administered from the United States Department of War. In 1819, Congress appropriated $10,000 to missionaries to carry out the aims of civilization.
The Seminoles used the money to build two schools. One of them was a boys' academy, the other was a girls' academy. The girls' academy was called Imahawga, and the boys' academy was called Mekusukey.
In an 1884 report, the United States Superintendent of Indian Schools indicated that the schools of the 5 tribes were not included in their report because the schools were being financed and managed entirely by the tribes.
Basically, the entire school was self-sufficient. And I think a lot of the self-sufficiency was there because of the advancements in that facility.
Unlike other tribes in the area, our agreements with the government did not vest the power in the federal government to assume control of our schools. They were influenced by Christianity, but in some ways the schools still retained Seminole culture and language.
It wasn't a boarding school, what you would see up in Canada or on the reservations in North Dakota or South Dakota. It was all run by the Seminole Nation. Just look at this area and just try to imagine what a marvelous structure it would have been, even if it was still here till this day. I mean, if you think about a very historic and just spectacular building that was built during the time period, the architecture was just fantastic, how it was built.
The schools were state-of-the-art and they enjoyed steam heating on each floor, which was a luxury for that time.
They had indoor plumbing, but for a building of that size to have the indoor plumbing just shows that how that innovation, it was very new.
One of my relatives, his name was Charlie Johnson, he was my great uncle. He actually attended Mekusukey Mission beginning in 1910 and said he went to school because he wanted to, not because he was forced to go.
There again, how our school was ran versus the national narrative and that narrative in Canada, it's completely different, at least for our nation.
When we first started this project 3 years ago, we started doing a lot of research to fully submerge ourselves into that information. But most of what we have to go off of is a lot of photographs and documentation and some very few remaining artifacts of the school. We come across photographs of them playing football out here. There's photos of the kids playing baseball out here. There's photos of the kids playing on a playground out here. So they had a lot of activities, but they also had a lot of chores to do also. There's photos of the kids, bringing in water buckets. They're holding brooms, all kinds of stuff. So all the kids had duties, and it was a good way to teach them responsibility and work together. And we had seen photographs of kids standing on rock structures nearby a water area.
This is a photo from probably 1905 here at the Mission Pond. Possibly school teacher or superintendent's wife that was told the rocks we're standing on is the area that this photo was taken. Like I said, just to be able to actually walk the grounds and know that they walked the grounds, to know that they shared good times and probably adversity, but looking at that photograph and realizing that they were there together. You know, brothers have each other's back.
I know at other schools you really see this drive to push children violently to utilizing the English language. It was not quite the same here within Indian Territory because we had oversight of the school systems.
You know, that perhaps it wasn't all, you know, work all day and trying to learn these life skills, but some downtime like that, you know, along with, you know, still being able to practice some of the traditional ways like the stomp dances and things like that.
Now, the school operated from 1891 till 1930, but unfortunately in 1906, the federal government took over the school and the school was shut down in 1930. And there's a photograph from Joanna Morris Palmer she had donated to the Oklahoma Historical Society, and it's the ruins of Mekusukey Academy. We came across an individual that works at the Seminole Museum, and we just showed it to her. I said, "Can you please help us figure out where this was?" And you know, she generously came out here and showed us where everything sat and where everything was, how it was all laid out here. So that was very crucial to our research.
I'm Betsy Bender, used to be Cloud. My maiden name was Cloud. This is my sister, Evelyn Coursey. And our family name was Cloud. And we lived here in this building here. There was 3 rooms.
So you're saying this building, this is where our office is located at. This is a residency, and this is where y'all live, in this building right here. And you said it was 2 rooms?
2 big rooms and this small room right here. Where this,
Where was y'all's room at?
right here.
In the middle?
There was 9 of us here, and on that side, my aunt and her husband and their 2 kids. Right around this way, starting the 2nd story, we used to walk around on the foundation all the way around. They had staircases in the backside, and then those staircases in the back had little rooms underneath it.
Okay.
The school was probably about into that building, that little tin building.
No, it's about in that fence and come out here to enter this
Into the
school.
fence?
Yeah. It was
And
that
it
big.
came all the way out, maybe where that flagpole is. Right here are the staircases. There was a staircases here then, and they were still here when we left.
So back in 2021, we had received a very generous donation of photographs that were brought in from an individual. Her family was faculty here, and we're going through these photographs, and we're going through it, and we bring it to the executive department and we show it to them. And really cool to see is Assistant Chief Brian Palmer finds a photograph of his great-grandfather, Wilsey Palmer.
The only photograph I had seen was at my aunt's house. So to see that photograph where they're that age, we have several others, but none there that show them on the Mekusukey Mission grounds. So that was very nice to see, even how they were dressed. You know, it was nice to see how well they were doing during those times.
Now that was a really cool way for tribal members to identify some of their own family members in these photographs that had never been seen before. So it's a really cool, interactive way to, tell a story, but also make everyone feel involved, and if they feel related to the kids, or just try to put themselves in those kids' shoes and try to imagine what life was like out here.
For me, it's looking at the entire photograph. To just be able to look into their eyes and kind of have a sense that you can feel the pride they have. It's just that connection to our past, especially having the photo of them as young children to young adults. And then to see where we're at today, it just shows how close and tight-knit our community truly is.